Welcome to the sanctuary. I'm Kyle, and I'm here to tell you, never be afraid to step into the pleasure den of the absurd. Now, we're moving on with the addendum series here of what was my ranking of the Led Zeppelin studio albums, and that ranking was the first video I ever did on this channel. I'll put the link for it in the description. Check it out. It's a good one. And so this happens to be number 7 out of 9. It's a great album, you know. And see, the thing is, as I've said before in these videos, you know, starting with Led Zeppelin 1, that sets the template. You know, the band has a lot of potential. They're a little short on original material. They come back with Led Zeppelin II, you know, geared for the strengths of the band, getting a little bit more familiar with each other and coming up with new songs, original songs, while still, you know, going back to the blues and you know, playing some old familiar material that they just reworked as Zeppelin. So with that, you know, I'm sure Zeppelin's like, okay, well, what are we going to do now? So Jimmy Page and Robert Plant strengthens their personal and professional musical relationship by taking their families off to this cottage, working on some new material, just bringing a couple acoustics along, and they produce this out of all that cottage life. Led Zeppelin III. For me, you know, like I said before, the albums just keep getting better and better. So this is a solid album. Don't get me wrong. You know, you may think it's low on the list, but every Zeppelin album is a good album. And this one, it certainly is a favorite. This one has a lot of my own favorite Zeppelin songs on it. And, you know, you get a very different sounding album as compared with the previous two that were very sort of muddy, murky, you know, a lot of fuzz tones and, you know, very heavy 60s vibe to it. This changes gears. It's very crisp sounding, clean sounding, you know, suits the acoustic material well. And even the more rock band oriented songs have a better flavor about them. And so this is, you know, very, very good, pivotal album. It gets Zeppelin out of their infancy stage. They're going for more stylistic songs, and it's a good one. So let's just go down the song list here. Opens up with the Immigrant Song. You know, all the Zeppelin albums start off with a great opening track, and the Immigrant Song it's driving, it's classic, it's Zeppelin personified, and it's one of my favorite Zeppelin songs. It's definitely in my top 10, which I also did a video of my top 10 favorite Led Zeppelin songs. I'll put the link for that in the description. Check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Tell me what your top 10 is. I'd love to hear it. So next up is Friends. Now here's where, oh boy, talking about stylistic. You know, it's Jimmy Page expanding on his musical ideas, doing something different. And it's a fun little song, and a little weird. It's very odd, and but you know, that's Zeppelin for you. They'll throw you a curve like that, and I like it. You know, it's got something to it. You know, and you know, the way it just has that sound, and and it's good, and it may even make people get interested in like Middle Eastern music or music from the global South. And next up, Celebration Day, another one of my top 10 favorite Zeppelin songs. This song is great. I love it. And, the lyrics are great. It's upbeat and fun. Lots of guitars that, have these, really odd sounds, where a lot of bands at the time were going for, guitar sounds that we may have heard before, or maybe they're using some kind of guitar pedal to change the sound in that way, doing electronics and stuff like that. With Page, it's all about timbre and tone, and and Celebration Day has it, and it's got it just builds and builds, and you just listen to these guitars, they sound so weird, and that's what Jimmy Page was going for. I mean, this is a very refreshing album. Zeppelin's really finding itself. Next up, Since I've Been Loving You, classic Zeppelin blues. Now again, Zeppelin is showing everyone just how broad the blues is. It could be very sophisticated, kind of like Since I've Been Loving You, or it could be very direct and no nonsense, like Roy Harper. We'll get into that later. Keep watching. But Since I've Been Loving You, is hands down, a Zeppelin standard, a great Zeppelin favorite. I mean, to me, it's a great example of Zeppelin playing the blues, whereas I really kind of dislike You Shook Me. Since I've Been Loving You, shows, how Zeppelin could be focused and craft a good song with their musicianship and Plant's lyrics and vocal delivery. I mean, it's solid, solid showcase for Zeppelin. Next up, Out on the Tiles, riff heavy. This sound of the bass just is fat and popping, and I think it foreshadows what you're going to hear on Presence, and that's the great thing about Zeppelin. And it's like their song catalog. You could take something from one album, put it next to something from another album, and it just fits so well, and each Zeppelin album has its own kind of stylistic tone to it, its own kind of sound, but they'll interchange that timbre of each album as they go on. And so, Out in the Tiles is another good one. And the ending too, listen to those guitars, just odd sounding guitars, man. It's got that timbre to it, So then we go to side two, and this is a mostly acoustic side. I'd say Gallows Pole opens it up. It's very country-esque. I love the banjos and all the instruments and everything, and it's Zeppelin having fun. It really is. And I don't think they took themselves too seriously on this album. They just said, let's do it. We have this great material, and it really does shine. And next up is Tangerine. Tangerine seems to be a very popular song with Zeppelin fans. I enjoy it. It's a great one to learn when you're, just starting to learn how to play guitar. And, and it's got the return of the pedal steel. It's got that country, country music instrument in there, and it adds just so much depth to the music and the song, and that guitar solo again, has just that resonant sound that's very much like what you heard on Ramble On, right? I don't know. You tell me. Tell me in the comments what you think about it. Next up, That's the Way. Again, this is in my top 10 favorite Zeppelin songs. As a matter of fact, this one deserves to be within my top 3. I just love it. The lyrics are great. It's got a nice roll to it, and I love the ending. Again, it's got that pedal steel in there, floating in and out, and it just, it really does make you seem like you're sitting by a stream, strumming guitar with somebody with you and just enjoying the day. It's great. Next, Brahma Stomp. Again, another fun song. This one took a while to grow on me, and I do enjoy it. There's a great live version on How the West Was Won, and also on that DVD, that double DVD set that is a must-have for all Zeppelin fans. But Brahma Stomp, yeah, good fun. Page, again, playing the slide guitar, showing off his skills, showing off his talents, and it works. Next up, the controversial Hats Off to Roy Harper. This is like Delta Blues, being on display here. And it's not that bad a song. I think it's just people may not be interested in hearing the blues presented in this way. But it is what it is. And here's a question I'd like to ask you. Do you think Led Zeppelin III would have been better suited if they took off Hats Off to Roy Harper and put Poor Tom in its place? Or maybe just, if they were going to do that, rearrange the songs, perhaps. I don't know. You tell me. I'm just throwing it out there. So, in summation, Zeppelin's finding themselves or getting out of that infancy stage and really starting to stand on their own 2 feet. It's a solid album. It's, when I did my ranking of the Zeppelin albums, Zeppelin 1 and 2 were definitely going to be, my least favorites, okay? Just by logistical standards and how I was doing the ranking in their, with the criteria, the ranking criteria. So, and my top 2 favorite Zeppelin albums are definitely my top 2 favorites. So, I had those bookends. But everything else in the middle, I said, is kind of fluid. And the more that I think about it, the more now I would probably place Zeppelin III somewhat higher on the list. But I'm going by that original video for these addendum series. And I think maybe when I'm done, maybe I will re-rank the Zeppelin albums just to suit my taste at that time. But we'll know when we get there, So with that, keep watching. Look at the notes I have in the description. I got other information if you want to contact me. And I also want to tell you to visit my community tab on my channel. I got a couple of polls going on. I'd like to hear what you have to say in regards to those. And leave me a comment, like, comment, share, subscribe. Definitely subscribe. Tell your friends, have them subscribe. And here in the sanctuary, we're going to be talking music and records and movies and DVDs and all kinds of other stuff that's floating about in here. And with that, I thank you for watching, and never be afraid to step into the pleasure den of the absurd.